At noon, the high-profile trial for a local romance novelist is happening now at the Multnomah County Courthouse. Nancy Crampton-Brophy is accused of killing her husband Daniel in 2018. Fox 12's Mia Villanueva joins us now live with the details of the trial so far. Mia?
Shauna, the trial started off with the judge announcing that Crampton-Brophy's 2011 essay, How to Murder Your Husband, would be excluded from evidence in this trial, the judge calling that essay, quote, inadmissible. He then announced a jury, and then we heard from the prosecution. They started by detailing the Brophy's early days, how they met in the early 90s at the Oregon Culinary Institute, where Daniel Brophy was Nancy's teacher. They married in 1999. The prosecution says come June of 2016, the Brophy's found themselves in financial trouble, struggling to pay their mortgage, leading them to drain $35,000 from their only 401k account to catch up on payments, as well as pay for home renovations, pay the IRS, and pay for travel. Now, of that money, the prosecution says Nancy Brophy spent $1,500 on a gun and gun parts. The prosecution says Nancy started researching ghost guns in the last 2 months of 2017, eventually purchasing a ghost gun on Christmas Eve of that year, which was delivered in January of 2018. The prosecution says that gun was never built, as Nancy did not have the skills to do so. They say she purchased another gun, a Glock 17, on February 17th of 2018 at a Portland Gun Expo. Now, at the end of that same month, the prosecution says she purchased a slide and barrel for that gun on eBay. On March 27th of 2018, the prosecution says Nancy practiced shooting at a public shooting range in Oregon to prepare for that fateful day on June 2nd of 2018. The prosecution played surveillance footage from the court of that day, showing Nancy at 7:08 a.m. driving near the Oregon Culinary Institute. But the prosecution says you don't see her on surveillance footage again for another 14 minutes. Next, they showed video of Daniel Brophy arriving at the Institute at 7:20, followed by video of Nancy at 7:28 a.m. leaving the area where the Institute is at. Now, the prosecution says Nancy returned to her home in Beaverton, but returned back to the Culinary Institute to the scene at that time at 10:28 that morning, after being told by a friend about police activity outside of the Institute. The prosecution says she was notified by detectives shortly after that her husband was dead, and also told those detectives that she had been home all morning. Next, they played a shocking soundbite for the courtroom from 4 days after Daniel Brophy was found dead. In it, you can hear Nancy asking a detective on the case to write a letter exonerating her from her husband's death so she could collect money for a life insurance policy.
My insurance company said, well, just have the detective write a letter that you're no longer a suspect. And I said, man, I just don't know that he's there. And I'm not sure that he looks at it that way. But if you do, I'd get you to write the letter.
We never do something like that. That's never been done. I've never heard of that being done.
Now, in that soundbite, you didn't hear all of that there, but in the rest of that soundbite, the prosecution says Nancy told the detective she only had a $40,000 life insurance policy on her husband. The prosecution says that is not true. They say Nancy made claims on 10 life insurance policies in which she was a beneficiary for $1.4 million, all of the equity of their home, and workers' comp because her husband was killed at work. Now, this is an ongoing trial. We have someone in the courtroom, and we will continue to bring you updates right here on air and online at kptv.com. For now, reporting live, I'm Mia Villanueva, Fox 12 Oregon.